Yeah. You're not. Oh, are we live? You're not that important yet, Sky. You're not. Like, just because you have to go at past because you've got to go and pick your wedding dress up, what gives you the impression that we will then leave and cancel the question?
Because I'm the most interesting person here.
Yeah.
You didn't even bite to try and challenge it. That point already on a Monday just can't be asked.
Well, no, it was just a valid point, to be fair. Like, valid point.
No, I was joking.
I get up, I train, I go to work. I work
No.
until 4, I take me like football, and that's my life. Do you know what I mean?
No, come on now. You two are very interesting characters.
Thanks, Sky. One second, Stacey's just texted me. There's chicken in the fridge if you want it for your dinner. You can have it with a jacket or pasta. See? My life's pretty interesting.
Just in case you didn't know what to have your chicken with.
And I tell you what I'm pissed off about. I'm very good with my schedule, my structure, and someone's found an imaginary fucking from the archives calendar link and booked a call with me at 12:30 today, and that's my dinner time. I'm happy about that. It's like clarity call, it's called. I'm like, who's done that? Who have you been sending this link to me? Stitched you up there. Wow. Right then, should we get on with it? I'll ask the first question. I'm going to go to Sky for it. I don't care what the system is. I'm going to beat it anyway. Do you think coaches taking part in events, hyrox, marathons, etc., has any sort of effect on swaying people to join their service?
The people that are interested in doing those things, I think. That's it. Could it have a negative effect? Could it push people away? I don't know. It really depends. I hate saying that fucking it depends, but it depends on your audience, I guess, and your target audience. I work with a lot of people that don't do hyrox or marathons, yet I have done a hyrox and a half marathon in the past 2 months. They support it. I think they find it kind of inspiring to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, because I'm very vocal about these things being outside of my comfort zone. Like, they're not things that are naturally... I'm not naturally good at these things. I've had to train for these things. So, but I don't think it really sways people to want to work with me. I think it's just something interesting they like to follow along with. If you want to work with people that are doing hyrox and marathons, then of course, I think that's definitely, you're walking the walk there, aren't you? You're showing them the journey. You're kind of doing the do. So I guess for Nathan, because he does a lot of hyrox, that's his target market? No?
No, but the difficult part of this is that hyrox, and what's great about hyrox, by the way, is that it's so varied in the amount of people that do it in terms of different backgrounds, demographics, fitness levels, and all of that. So I actually think where it's not become largely relevant to the larger, I don't mean larger in size, by the way, population and demographics that are in gyms and commercial gyms, there's probably still quite a lot of people who would aspire to do some form of fitness event to find a level of motivation to train. So I think naturally people would probably think that I would turn around and say that it would have a negative effect. I don't. I think it would have, personally think it would have, there's clearly no data and it's just opinion based this, but I personally think it would have fairly positive effects. Like, are people that asked about what you're doing? I had a message from one of the coaches this morning. Shall I share my journey with the coach that I have at the moment? If you want, if you enjoy to, share it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really funny one, because I was looking at some of the research around this, around like social media and content and its impact on people's behaviors. And obviously this is just like observational research, but a lot of it showed that people seeing other people do exercise is only improves their kind of intention to exercise if they're already active. It's not really inspiring people that aren't that active. So it's maybe people that are general gym goers that then go, do you know what? Maybe I should pick a certain challenge, a local 5K, 10K, something like that. So it might have a positive impact in that way, but it depends who you're trying to target, doesn't it? If there's someone that's so far away from that. So yeah, I think it can have both. I think mostly it's not going to harm your business.
No. Something I picked up on there is that you laughed your way through 5K. Don't patronise people like me.
I did not laugh at 5K.
Didn't she? She laughed under her breath, then, Nick. You know what I mean? Come on.
Don't stitch me up. Don't try to make me look like a bad.
No, I think personally, overall, it's a positive thing. I think there's a balance to be had of going. Days are gone where like how much do I shoot down people, Nick, in regards to prep for a competition and then place that everywhere and expect, yeah, but I get clients from it. Yeah, I get that. But that's a whole different ballgame. I think if you're leading, this is really probably, it's not a bad statement, but if you're leading from the front in terms of you're leading with your fitness, health and fitness journey, and that's something that you're passionate about, I personally think you should share as much as you can.
Yeah. If we look at this in the broader sense, doing something like a hyrox or a marathon, it's you showcasing your values and your I guess kind of your work ethic, who you are, what you like. So if you see it in that way, it's letting people get to know you and they feel like they're part of that thing with you. It might not sway them to do it, but seeing that and seeing what kind of person you are might sway them to work with you. So that's why I do like to share bits and bobs like that.
Nick, any additional thoughts?
Nicholas, can you turn that radio off, please?
Use it down. Why'd you do it all the time?
Why have you waited 6 minutes and 45
Because you've been
seconds?
talking too, couldn't it?
Conversation.
Why don't you just bring it up at the beginning?
Feel there's
You
someone
pair
like
of arseholes. Fucking turn it up now.
Just leave. No, don't. Okay, I'm going next. Fuck the system. Who would you say?
Oh, hang on. I'm going to have my say. All right.
Oh, come on then, hurry up.
10 minutes for one question, by the way. For you, no, move on. I can't be asked. Come on.
Go on, guys.
Fine. Okay, who would you say, this is for you, Nick, just for you, are good people to follow or any recommended resources regarding improving the quality of socials content? I'm shy to anything that needs to look aesthetically pleasing and always have been.
Follow? I really can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
Over to Anne.
Aesthetically pleasing. So socials, you'd follow probably Simon, wouldn't you? And I'm sure there's other people that do similar to what Simon does in terms of overall socials. But the way things look, I don't know. It's like, obviously, a lot of people use Stacey within the academy to make theirs look aesthetically pleasing, but that's her kind of side job. So is she always on social sharing stuff? Probably not, to be fair. We pack her out with enough work to keep her busy. So there is that side of it if you wanted some level of support with it. But I think other than that, the only people that come to mind are like graphics for coaches and places, people like that, is it? Is that one? Have I just made that
It's
up?
quite personal as well, isn't it? Like, what I like wouldn't be what, and you know, it's slightly different. I think from a tick box kind of process of going, what does it need to have in there? I think that's also quite subjective as well, to be honest. You can't, I don't think you can ever out edit bad content. The quality of your content and who you're talking to should be top of the list, and then how that's presented, even though you should pay attention to it, I think it's less important. You know, if you shit at editing and having something look visually good, but your content doesn't speak to anyone, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah. Simon's a good one. Simon actually does give good tips in terms of, listen, if you've just got an iPhone, here's some tips to make your iPhone videos better. Rather than, you know, having a $5,000 camera and here's some software. However, one thing that I do use that does help, there are apps, like CapCut's quite good because it has templates. So you don't have to do any of the work. You literally put your own video clips in. If you're doing like video with text, you put your own clips in and then you put your own text over it to make it suit your niche. But if you feel like you're shite at it, which, what does that mean? That means that you probably haven't done it that much, because we're all shite at stuff that we don't do that much. Just keep it really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated to be impactful.
Next.
How much of an impact should niche have on gym floor lead gen? If you work online as well as in person, does it matter if they aren't the same people?
I think it does matter, yeah. In terms of, it depends where your business is at, from a, like, how quick do you want revenue, money and all that type of stuff. But it has an impact because what you're trying to create with marketing is touch points with people that progressively move their level of value in what you do up. So if I've got a clear understanding of who I'm talking to on the gym floor, where they go, what they do, all of that, that saves me time. So I know when they're in the building, what they do, how they go about things, how to approach them and all of that. And anything that's going to save you time as a business owner, you need to lean into. And off the back of that, when you're putting out content, because the whole purpose of you generating leads from the gym floor is to then speak to them away from the gym. So online, in terms of socials and emails. So then if you're doubling and tripling up them touch points with relevant and specific content, all you're going to do is nudge them people down that funnel quicker. So is it more of an advantage to do it, to have a niche on the gym floor than not? 100% it is, regardless what the majority of people say about not having it. It's less important than if you were just focused on being an online coach, absolutely, because you've got a massive audience. And if you wanted to, you could probably just go into the gym and get a shit ton of leads fairly quickly if you dedicated some intentful time to it. But if you want to do it in an efficient way that speeds the process up, then you should narrow down that niche that you're speaking to on the gym floor. And some people might listen to that and go, how does it speed it up though? Surely it slows it down initially. Well, initially it does, yeah. But once you build up, put the graft in and build up the work, gym floor, email, socials, however else that you're going to get in front of them, that speeds and accelerates that process up. So that would be my opinion. Not on my phone today. The phone's quicker. Who's got the next question?
I have.
No. Wait. Ideas. Is this the next question?
Yeah.
Ideas on how to engage the audience more on social media via stories, polls, etc. I feel like my audience are all millennial lurkers. Lol.
I would get really specific. The more general you are, sometimes the less you'll get from people. So if you go, example, when I say something specific that I want people to ask me questions about, I'll get more questions than if I just put a question box with ask me a question. I'll get some, but if I say ask me a question about menopause, I'll get loads more. Or ask me about performance nutrition or whatever it might be. And it doesn't have to be related to, health and fitness. It could just be like, you do some fun ones as well. You've done some before. It could be something quite fun, could be something entertaining. And then you can share that with people. So not only are people wanting to share, but they want to see other people's responses. So you could do that. I remember about 5 years ago when I was getting into social media, I used to every Wednesday do like a embarrassing stories question box, embarrassing things. I would share one and then I would put the question box up and other people would put them in. And that really worked quite well because people knew that it was coming every Wednesday and they would put stuff in and I'd share it. And it was just a way to engage people so that they're still there for when you share more helpful content. But yeah, I think getting more specific with stuff is a good way. Anything you would add?
No, you're right with that. Like as specific as possible. And 1 second. Just come up with something about me hearing an echo. Yeah, specific as possible and give yourself, this is really bad because I never do it anymore. Give people an opportunity to let people know who you are and what you do outside of the day job so they can connect with you as a person because they're more likely to ask a question, do a poll, tap a sticker if they trust you, really, if they bought into you as a person. That's that. Next question, please. Sky for Nick.
How to create a great monthly review for online clients?
I think I would start with how you structure check-ins, the type of things you're asking in check-ins, the type of focuses you've got for your clients. I think always going back to making it client-centered in a way that they're measuring their success by their terms and not you dictating certain metrics or whatnot. So it would be like everything, it would be a bit of a collaboration rather than you kind of going, hey, this needs to be done for me. So I think it would be based very much on check-ins in regards to having an opportunity to review the last kind of 4 weeks, if you're doing it weekly, and then some really reflective questions, reminding them about their goals, and then planning forward on any challenges you're overcoming. Has things changed? And then plotting the next kind of month ahead, for example. So yeah, I think performance of the last month, I think challenges and open questions in regards to that, some reflection stuff, reminding them about their goals. The only reason why I say about that is people forget, people lose focus, and I think that's a big one. And also things change as well. So yeah, that's how I would structure a monthly review. Anything you would add?
No.
Excellent news. It's excellent.
Right, I'm going to bounce. I'm going to love you and leave you. So behave without me.
It's ridiculous that you're leaving this to pick up your wedding dress.
I know, I am part-time. Mate.
It's disgusting. Like, where's your priorities?
I hope we got loads of complaints. I hope we got complaints. I left early.
We won't. Go on, Nick.
How can you predict what you want to market when you are someone who works purely on impulse? I need help with strategy.
Okay, I think first of all, accept there's a strength in the impulse because there's part of your business that will need that and will benefit from it. But one of them is not marketing strategy. And when it comes to marketing strategy, you've got no choice. In theory, if you want a marketing strategy and a marketing plan for your business, and you know you need it to keep you ahead of time with clear aims and intentions, you've got to try and work through the facts and ignore that you work on impulse, or lean on someone or buy into something that's going to help you, which is their strength, right? So if that's not your strength and you've got someone who works with you in the business that is their strength, then lean it on that person, is what I would say. If you haven't got that, then obviously you want to try and practice that skill like anything, to get better at it over time and find a way that works for you. But to kind of give you some summary points of the best way to approach it, same as a lot of the stuff that we go through in the past, you've got to have clear aims with your marketing. What are we aiming to do? And that comes off the back of making sure you're super clear on how that's going to feed into your sales and the revenue of your business. Okay. So if we want to grow month on month, then there are certain times that you'll need lead magnets. There's certain times that you might need launches. There are certain times that you might run campaigns like ads and all of that type of stuff. But to keep it as simple as possible, like if we think ahead and go, right, let's say for argument's sake, November and December, what's my aim with my marketing? My marketing aim might be to generate a shit ton of leads, let's say more leads than I've done from a lead magnet before. And off the back of that, I'm aiming to get free sales. Okay. So the first things first, you'd look back at, have you done that before? If so, what worked? And then you might rinse and repeat that campaign. And then you would plan that out in regards to the list of tasks, and you would feed them tasks into your schedule. Now, that might sound like it's really oversimplified, but in theory it is. Like you go aim, what's the intention behind it? Generate, I don't know, 100 plus leads, get free sales. Bear in mind, them free sales, a lot of the time don't come from the 100 new leads. It's from the compounding effects that you've done in the past. So yeah, my last point on this is you can't work on impulse when it comes to marketing strategy and all of that. Because if you do, you will be one of them people that has highs and lows within your businesses, and there's no prediction. It's highly stressful. It's hard to put content out because of that. So you've got to sit down, at least for me, once a month. Sometimes it's half a day's job, in a day's job, and making crystal clear aims and intentions with your marketing from a planning perspective, right down to your daily calendars of what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, and all of that with the tasks. So that would be my advice. Anything you'd add, Nick? Next question. I'm not sure how harsh to be with clients who aren't doing what they said they would do. I try to be positive when they've done something, but I want them to start holding themselves to a higher standard, and I don't want to let them off doing what they need to do to get where they want to be, because I feel it sends a poor message. Any advice finding the balance between supportive and empathetic while still holding them accountable to their actions?
Just going to read that again.
Thanks for listening.
I was just seeing if there was anything else in there that are doing what they need to do. I think, okay, so the first thing I would say is if we're trying to fix the problem of effectively adherence to the program that you're positioning for these guys, is I think the first thing is go back. That's motivation to do things. So go back to, right, do they feel competent in what you're placing in front of them to do, whatever that looks like, whether it's the program in the gym, whether it's the tracking, whether it's doesn't matter, like create a safe space so they feel like they're not going to be judged, and assess the competence of that across all things that they're not being accountable to. I think off the back of that, then create autonomy. And when we create autonomy, I think sometimes we use it as a kind of checklist, i.e., right, they've been involved in that, great, move on. Okay, we'll give them suggestions based on what they're going through. Check what the next steps are of that. Check if they feel there are any barriers to doing those steps. and then plan accordingly moving forward. Like, break it down, because I think being supportive and empathetic, yes, being empathetic and supportive, yes, being kind of a kick up the arse, but also going to the root of the problem. And that's where I would start with those things. Because we can launch to those two things, can't we? Oh, it's okay, no problem, try again, or no, get it fucking done. And I think there are two absolutes that yes, they do work and there's a place for it, but also let's go back and look at the crux of it. They're not motivated to do the things they need to do. So you got to look at motivation first. That's my opinion. Anything else?
Next.
I think so. Okay, brilliant. If you are at capacity and not needing to sell until the new year, how would you approach getting the most out of the next 2 months? Where would your focus be?
First place I'd go to is my overall goals for the year, because I'm sure they're not just sales based and client based. So I would look at the goals that you had and the aims and the KPIs that you wanted to hit for the year, and see if there's anything outstanding, or whether there should be extra focus on stuff that maybe has not had your time because of the marketing, lead gen, sales throughout the year. So I would look at that, accompanied with making sure that I'm generating leads and building lots of interest over time. So yeah, I'd make sure I'd still be generating leads through November and December. I'd make sure now and again, from a strategy perspective on a marketing front, I'd always pull something that will generate a little bit of interest. So whether that be at your waiting list, whether that be I'm putting on a seminar in the gym and I'm going to see how many people turn up, just to see how many people are out there that want what I have. But apart from generating leads, looking at your goals and intentions for the year and seeing what's outstanding, I was just talking about this to Sky in regards to there's probably some stuff that you've wanted to commit to that you potentially haven't been able to get round to. So maybe you invest a little bit more time in that area. Yeah. What would you say?
I'd agree.
Next question. Views on pre-workout, stim or non-stim? As a coach, would you offer them or give a client to use?
I use them personally, so I can't comment on stimulant or non-stimulant. As a coach, it's never crossed my mind to offer that to any clients personally. You've used them before.
Used everything, Nick.
When you were before you ate former ant.
For what?
You ate former ant.
I ate former ant. What do you mean by that?
You've lost about half your body size, haven't you?
You reckon?
Yeah. Mate, that picture of the first or second year of Body Power on stage.
Yeah, there wasn't much.
You're having 2 dinners a night.
There wasn't much conditioning work going on then, whereas now, basically a runner, Nick. Do you know what I mean? Basically a runner. Listen, I think the best thing to have is a checklist of things that you would go through with a client to see if it was necessary that they need them. Clearly, there's not really much wrong as long if they're causing sleep issues for the client and that's having a knock-on effect to everything else in regards to what they're paying you for the goal, then that's a different story and brings up different problems. But I think if you have a bit of a checklist to go through with clients in regards to recovery, nutrition before the session, post-session, that type of stuff, and you've just got these questions that they're ticking boxes of, but they're still feeling like they need some type of kick up the arse before they train, then do I think it's a bad thing? Absolutely not. But I would definitely have that checklist first of recovery and nutrition, because what you'll probably find, you look at me today, I've had a weekend where I've probably had 4 hours sleep both nights, and all I've wanted to do this morning is go and smash as many monsters as possible. And obviously, too much of that will just have a knock-on effect, as we all know, to other areas of whether it's life, sleep, all of that type of stuff. So I think if you've got that checklist of stuff that you want to go through with a client, that will come in handy, because then you can actually go, right, well, these are your options if you're struggling from an energy perspective. But I'd get to the root of the problem first before going to something like a pre-workout, because more than likely, as you know, which is probably why you asked the question, they probably don't need it. Next.
How to stay confident that what you're doing is going to work. How to fight self-doubt.
Everybody's different, so how they deal with that is going to be different. So my advice would be is that, listen, this is, I know this person who's asked the question, so this is confidence around probably a model change, going from PT to small group PT. This will be confidence off the very, very first marketing campaign that they've probably ever done, which has ended up resulting in 40 leads and 5 inquiries. So I would say that return should give you confidence, in my opinion. But the biggest thing with this, and this is probably what I'm going to be talking about a lot more at the conference, is that what you've, and this is really hard, right? But I'm going to say it and kind of throw it away. But what you've got to really get your head around as a business owner is the fact that you'll always have a little bit of self-doubt, self-limiting beliefs. There's always going to be stuff that's going to be in your head that scares you, but that's a good thing. It shows that what you're doing is probably the right thing and you should be taking action on that stuff. And you have to find a way to accept the process of business, right? If you're going to operate, and what I mean by that, if you're operating a business and you want clients in your business, marketing and marketing campaigns and lead generation and all of that is just a way of your life now. It's not a pass, it's not a fail. What you do is you do it and you learn from it. Did it go well? Amazing. That's brilliant. What can I learn for that for next time? Did it go shite? Also brilliant, because I've learned lots of lessons there. So it should just be this, and this is difficult, like I said before, but it's acceptance on, it's not pass or fail and give up or whatever. Like, if you're in this for the right reasons in regards to want to help people, want to change people's lives, want to coach people on the gym floor, all of that, or coach people on that, and you're genuinely in it for the right reason, you have to quickly accept that you're going to have to do things that at points are going to knock your confidence. And how you manage that is really important. And one of the ways to manage that is how I've just said. This is not a stop, start, pass, fail. It's a continuous process, and you've got to get your head around that. Because if you don't, you're going to be in for a very stressful time and you will react to things and probably give up quite easy. And if you give up quite easy, let's use marketing, for example, and you go missing and you don't do a lead magnet, you don't generate leads, you don't put content out, you don't go and help people on the gym floor, you categorically do not deserve one client, one new client. You don't, right? And a lot of people might be hurt by that. But let's be honest, a lot of PTs get clients from luck these days because people want it, they're in the gym, they're on the profile, all that type of stuff. You can't run your business on luck. So you've got to quickly get your head around. There's going to be battles with self-doubt, battles with self-limiting beliefs, confidence issues. We have it, and we've been in the industry for 20 odd years with our own business and stuff. It's a normal way of life, and it shows that you're challenging yourself, so that's a good thing. So you've got to find a way to numb the noises in your head by taking as much action as possible. And the only way that you'll know if you're doing the right thing or not is to take action, because as I said before, you'll learn if it goes well, or if it doesn't, you'll learn either way. And that's the best mindset to have with it, in my opinion. Anything you would add?
Yeah, you've got to learn to build resilience when you're a business owner. And I think it's one thing that people don't realize is that building resilience is a skill, and it's something that should absolutely be focused on. Like right now, I would say 80%, probably more, of personal trainers want to stay within their comfort zone of feeling safe and in control. And when they start to step out of that, it kind of goes into this zone of fear where they find excuses and they lack self-confidence and they're affected by other people's opinions and they're struggling to take action. And that's where a lot of people stay, and then they revert back into their comfort zone. I think when you go beyond that, when you start to like acquire new skills. So let's say that's that thing that you wanted to do and you planned it out, but then you haven't actually taken action on it. It's like that's where you're going to like learn, like by dealing with different things and challenges and problems. And when you get into that kind of learning zone, you then start to grow. Like that's the next kind of step on the ladder almost of growth. And that comfort zone, if you think of where that was previously, it starts to become a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. But the problem is that people stop at that fear zone before they even get to the learning place. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's understanding that and pushing through that element of fear. That's where you're going to get the most growth. Like, it's not going to feel nice. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be full of self-doubt. There's going to be excuses coming into your head to not push through. That's truly where you're going to get the best and the most return in that place. So both as a person and as a business. So yeah, very, very common, very difficult, but understanding that will hopefully make you show up and make you view things as a learning process and build that resilience.
Good question, that though.
Yeah. That's it.
No, it's not. Favourite book you've read this year?
Psychology of Money.
Is that the only book you've read this year?
I haven't actually read many new books. I haven't actually read many new books instead of buying new ones and then having to buy them.
I haven't read until probably the first or second week of the year when I started that is it called Indistractable? But then I've obviously become too distracted to carry on reading.
That's he's fucking flat.
And then I haven't read books this year, honestly.
Fucking, oh, we go back to that one.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but do you know what I found myself doing? Not enjoying what I was reading because I was constantly reading for work. Yeah, so I kind of hit it on the head a little bit because you remember, God, how many books did we used to buy in like lockdown and a lot of conversations about it? We did do a lot of reading then, didn't we? But yeah, I've not even looked for it. Like, you know, like normally you'd get Amazon would come up and go, your similar things you bought in the past. I've not even looked at it. More podcasts this time. But yeah.
Listen to a good one this morning. Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
On a high performance podcast.
I'll listen to that in a bit. I've got a 2-hour drive to Liverpool and back.
Yeah, it's good.
Another reason why I haven't read books. Taxi and Lacing, it's a different football. Right, people. Any final thoughts, Nick?
I don't think so, actually.
Don't dilly-dally on this podcast. Took you a while last week, didn't it?
Guys,
cool. We'll end on that.